Hello and welcome back to another Patreon replay analysis. We're going through our February replays in these videos, so a lot of the same faces. We're going to be working through KingKnight's replay right now. He's been a long-time supporter of the podcast. Can never thank KingKnight enough for all of the support, being here and in this community as long as he has. Great player as well, and so I know he plays with his team quite often, who is also pictured in this replay. So we will be working through that and watching along, giving some advice, and seeing how they turn out. So we're always guarantee one, obviously, full replay. Depends how deep we go. Maybe we get a second in. Who knows? But yeah, we can take it away and jump right into the action. So we got KingKnight lined up here on the kickoff as we start, and my game gets very funky. There we go. Okay. Good first kickoff, and luckily his teammate is very quick on the draw to recover. Unfortunately, a little bit of a mistouch, but nothing too shabby. And instantly, the ball back the other way. Let's take a quick look at this one. So as we come around here right away, KingKnight, you're a little deep. You're a little deep into the end. There's not a lot of opportunities wherever this ball is going based on where you've set up your car. If we go back just slightly even more right to the kickoff, as you come around, you get your mid boost. This flip here is a little presumptuous because you don't know exactly where this ball is going to go because the 50 is just what happens. So as soon as you land with your momentum and using your boost, you're already going to be very, very deep. Obviously not expecting Leon to miss the ball here, but now with your momentum, it's going to carry you so far forward that you don't have a lot of room to slow down and be part of the play. So instead, what I want to be seeing on these plays is the second you land here, I want to see a flip right now, get into a diagonal flip with that little bit of extra boost that you have. I know you can't see the boost in the replay, but it is there. So diagonal flip right around here as you're going to then land on the boost, and then it's just one quick turn, and now you're waiting here because all that you're going to be focusing on is that if Leon comes in and makes this play, let's say he loses the ball and it loops back around the other way, now you can attack and be part of that. If, like I said, Leon comes in around and then wins the ball, now your other teammate who should be around like over in this area, should be streaking through, getting ready on the side, and now you've moved into that number 2 spot, getting ready to support. So you're allowing yourself to still be in a great position where you can do everything and anything without streaking in too far, as in like into this corner, which is where you end up going. So just to make that the challenge that inevitably comes from here, so as you work your way over, see what I mean by that late flip, it really carries your momentum through, and now you're challenging this ball and you're actually chasing this ball rather than coming to this ball. And truthfully, at this point, I think you're better off just waiting, because as you can see, you rush to this touch, you go in and you get beat. You still get the touch, but it actually adds height to the shot, so Mr. Miles can't quite get there. Goes over both their heads and goes into the net. Could Mr. Miles been in a better position there? 100%. He definitely could have been a little closer to make a better save, but it's still an awkward touch that you are forcing because purely over anything, just because you're positioning. So little thing in general. Don't worry too much about this whiff, but just a little good thing to address. I tend to brake just before I get on the curve of this wall because the wall is tricky on your head, and let me show you why. Right now, if we're looking at this and you're trying to hit this ball perfectly, it looks, if we follow a line, almost a direct line, we would be assuming you go like this, hit the curve of the wall, and then down because of that line. That line is what's really going to trip you up. The issue with this part of the wall is that the curvature is in this area and then changes to this area, meaning when you come down, even though you're in this line, you're actually going to be going out that way instead. And this is almost exactly what ends up happening if I quickly start the video again. See what I mean? So now you're having to over adjust to try to get to that ball, and you end up missing it anyways. And that is a really interesting little mind game that those corners can play. And you're like, how did I miss that? And people do it at all ranks. And that's a little mental game. I tend to generally overcommit one way. So in this case, I would overcommit more to the right, because then worst case, if let's say I go too far, what I end up doing instead is hitting this side of the ball, and then I'm just booming it that way rather than booming it this way. And neither one is inevitably bad unless you're hitting like here and then it's going towards your own net, but still it's better than missing in the first place. So I tend to try to, I actually will often break on the wall, like I was saying, and really make sure I know the angle I'm coming down so that a hit like that doesn't happen, or a miss like that doesn't happen. So good recovery back around. Risky clear. Very risky clear. You're playing with a team, so there's nothing stopping you from saying, Mr. Miles, can you help? calling him in and simply letting him come through, take the ball and go, and then you cutting in this way, taking these paths and cycling back into the basically where he started. And so what's really nice about following that route, maybe even get that pad in there if you can, is you're getting yourself back up to 100 because you're obviously losing a lot of boost now after the miss, and you're putting yourself back in net. But what ends up happening instead when you go for this ball is when you hit it, you're hoping for a big boom. You don't quite get it, and that's not a huge deal. But Mr. Miles, as you can see, obviously he's not, Mr. Miles is not going to be facing this way on this. He's for sure coming in and will be facing this way, as we can see right there. So now to make a save when that ball inevitably comes out, as you've done, he's going to have to do a full 180 to then make the save. And that's exactly, again, what ends up happening. And so it puts him in a very awkward position when in the first place you could have just called him in. But he makes a great first save, and you were in a good position to cover him just in case. So, and you're part of the breakout. Really, really good transition. The only difference is that what I can say to you is that this could have been done differently if you were able to take that transition game and focus more on where allowing your team to be part of the play instead, right? So calling in Mr. Miles, making sure he's part of it, and this transition would have been started a step earlier. But regardless, this was a great breakout in general. Good follow, leads to a goal. Phenomenal way down the field. Cannot edit anything on that. Just comes back to that defense and how I think you guys could have started that play just a second earlier if you were to have. Big 50 off. Oh, nice try. Hard shot. I will always say cutting the angle. So when you're coming in here, I want you basically full speed to that back post. Right here is your glory. Because if you picture the shooting lane, so here we'll go look at Gabriel's, the guy shooting's perspective. When this ball comes in, he doesn't see goalie, and you should be able to know that there's not a chance that he see goalie. So all he sees is the glory of shooting right into this spot, and that's where he's going to end up trying to put that shot and place that. So when you come in, he's not thinking about you as a goalie. So when you break, I appreciate that you're looking for it, and we can see it again here. When you break here, we already know he's shooting short side, and truthfully, I'd much rather you let a goal in far side from a well-placed shot than miss a save short side, because I would say 8 to 9 times out of 10 that shot is going to that corner. So was a rough kickoff. Don't worry too much about it that you had a really good save attempt, but just a good little kind of gamble you can put your head of that it often is better to try to take the short side save rather than going for that far. Great pad grabs there. Really, really good pad grabs. Good shot attempt. I just want to see how you took it. Yep, good shot attempt. You already know what was wrong with this. You jumped a little late into the actual shot itself, which obviously added height because you were so under the ball. But a really good follow brings that the other way. Careful of these cuts. I just with the speed of it, I feel like I doubt this was actually calmed, because Leon is in a perfect spot here to go for this ball, but you turn in, and so even if it was called, why I tend to struggle with these cuts is now you have Leon facing away from the play, because if he goes up this way, he's also just going to be in an awkward spot, and he can't just stay facing forward because then he's going to be flat-footed, right? So he has to stay moving in this situation, so he's a little awkward. You are most likely, and I know you are, but in most cases you are boostless here, so your turn is generally just to force a touch, but the issue with that is that your forcing a touch already has our one defender not ready to receive it, and so we don't know what's going to happen here. We'll see if that is the case, but I do really tend to struggle with those, and there you go. So Leon is now in a very awkward spot, when in reality, you could have just grabbed that mid boost. He could have been the one to challenge us. Let's watch this from his perspective. So he chases us down. He could be full boosting right now to force that touch. Then what could have happened instead is you would have been able to swoop up this boost and come back in and challenge that, hopefully having Mr. Miles streaking in the other side for then once Leon goes and challenges and then come back around. So it allows a much smoother rotation, and despite you feeling like you're adding to the play and being fast here, it does actually slow down the play more than anything. So just try to keep that in mind for those kind of challenges. But I'm really glad you didn't jump. Super, super glad you didn't jump. Good wave dash attempt. Please keep trying those. Those are really, really useful for recovering down. And then good rotate back into net. There you go. I was just about to call you on it. Careful, right? Watch those. So your only job right now is the back post. If we go to the fly cam here and take a peek, right now your only thought should be that if this ball comes back this way, you are cycling back into net to be here so that Leon can take it. And then if Leon misses, you're going to be the one to take it for Leon to cycle back in behind, hopefully with Mr. Miles eventually joining back into that rotation since he's out of the play. But with those routes drawn right now, I'm going to leave it. let's take a look at what happens when you cut there. Now you're both in the same spot, and now you're at the front post rather than the back post, and puts you in a much, much more awkward position. And you can still see that, even though we're not currently watching you, you can still see there's a little bit of chaos downfield there. So let's hop back into your view. Good touch. Sure. Oh, my heart, KingKnight, my heart. Okay, let's see where all these doubles started. So Leon turns back in, and then you go for this touch. You make it. That looks like a great pass, but you land perfectly for the ball. So that's a fair double commit. I'm not that mad at that because Leon doesn't hear and recover, and you recover very well. The second Leon goes over, you got to hit the brakes here. He's like through and through. I know in your mind this is your ball. You feel like this should be your goal. You can't keep going here. You got to just slam on the brakes because Leon is the one in front of you. You end up bumping him and go from there. You can be mad at him after the goal goes in and say, hey, you shouldn't have double committed on me. But regardless, you got to let him take those and work your way out instead. But unfortunate, no goal. Really good use of flips here to keep speed. I really, really like seeing it. And then just a little unfortunate. The one thing I will say across the board with you just in this play twice is both your teammates are deep, and this boost pad is in here. You're doing a great job at checking right there to see if the ball is coming, but you go so far downfield without continuously looking to see the ball is coming that you could have actually kept pressure, and now we have Leon recovering back, going to get his boost. Mr. Miles coming back without any boost, and you with the person who is full all the way back in your own end. So you're allowing all three blue players to start setting up their play, and that's not what we want right now. So what I would much would have rathered on this play is as you're making your way out right here, staying in ball cam, because once you see that blue doesn't take the ball, what I want you doing is looping in and getting these pads in this area so that you can stay in that midfield, let Mr. Miles recover, get it, let Leon recover and get it, and now you've wasted enough time that one of them will be able to come back in and support you, right? So that needs to be you know right away you're going to be the number one guy because you're the first person leaving the zone. Therefore, you're next in the challenge list. So by you picking this boost to go all the way down and then all the way back up, you're wasting tons and tons of time, and you can really feel it if you're just watching here. Nothing. Now we get a hit, right? There's almost 10 seconds without an actual hit coming through, and then we miss that challenge. And right now, again, I actually don't like you taking this corner boost because you're wasting an additional amount of time when now your team is being 3-on-2 back the other way. Could you have gotten there before this goal was scored? Maybe not, but this comes back to these pads. If I go to none again to show, so you get your hit and you go for your flip. The second you land, now you've landed on that pad. What I need you doing every single time is taking that outer football route all the way down so that you end up in net with 100 just by following this route all the way, right? Like that's such a valuable tactic to be able to take these all the way down because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. But there could be, you could go to the one over here. You could get this one. So like you could do the little loop like this. And so you're getting 9, like, and which is 100 boost and so on. So this is a much quicker way. And so now so imagining, I'm going to track my mouse across and we can see where you go. I'm going to leave those lines on the field, and you can see the amount of time that ends up getting wasted with this route. And so imagine you're following that route. You're actually almost at the ball at this point in my head. So could you have beat it? Maybe not, but it's those little habits you need to start building because that's what's really going to slow down your play in general and make your teammates feel like you're not part of the play, even though all you did was just go for a challenge in the beginning, right? So try to keep those in mind as well because that, I think, was a big thing I was seeing on twice there with you is that you're not taking the pad lanes. You're too focused on those big boosts that you're wasting a lot more time for what you think is making you faster. Careful on the double boost grab. I will always call people out on these because you don't know if Mr. Miles is now, you see he's going to the far right one, but you don't know if maybe one is needed. I'm okay with it because you did steal it from the blue, but you just always, I want to make sure that's in your muscle memory to know. Why are we jumping? As soon as he comes, he's already jumped and flipped at this point. You already know you're not getting there. Truthfully, your role here is just to do one of two things. You're playing his miss, so if he misses, you have a free goal, or you're forcing him to rush his hit, which you perfectly do. But now you've wasted 30 with 25 boost, and you're landing in their net to then have to boost off, to then flip out, recover incredibly fast, like so fast. But again, you take extra time that is not needed. What instead, if we go back to this fly cam and look at it here, could you have saved this ball? We don't know, but let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Right now, you know that you're going to have your kickoff man coming back, and you already know this because you were just looking over. So you already know Mr. Miles is going to be coming back. You know Leon will be the next in line to challenge, and you're the number one right now. So when you come in, like I said, you're playing his miss. If he doesn't miss, I don't want you jumping. I want you purely driving back and then taking the boost pads all the way, because then luckily once you get to here, you can cycle back in and cycle behind Mr. Miles or whoever is there. And so again, let's keep an eye on this lane and see if you think you could make it before this ball actually goes in the net, because I really do think you could have. Let's get this started again and watch. So you jump. You would have been in the curve, you would have been in the straightaway, you would have been past half field, you would have been in net, and you could have made the save, right? Is it inherently your fault? No. And the fact, and like, man, you were not doing this even last month, so I love to see you doing this. This looks so good. The fact you were already here with taking that entire time to land, go in and out, land back down, diagonal flip, and in, super clean. Like really well done. But I know for a fact you can see this yellow line I'm about to draw is about 1,000,000 times faster than what you had done, regardless of how speedy you were, to then come in and make that save as it comes around. And so that non-jump, that decision to not jump right here is way more important than I find many, even champ players, realize. But you always need to be playing odds. When you're coming into this challenge, we'll watch it one more time. This is a great replay, by the way. I love that you sent me this. A lot of goals, a lot of things we can talk about. When you're coming into this challenge, before you jump where you are right now, you have to know you're not going to win that ball. Anyone staring at this and that knows a little bit about Rocket League knows that you haven't jumped yet. He's already jumped and he's on top of the ball. So not a hope in hell are you winning this ball. And if we watch this even slow motion, it'll feel even worse of like, look how far out the challenge is with absolutely nothing when you could have just turned a major way downfield. And so not to really harp on it, but that is a huge part of defense. And I will actually let me quickly show you what I'm talking about with that. This is, let me pull pawns replays because we were just talking about it. Yeah. So this is in twos, and this is what I'm talking about in terms of not challenging. Don't mind the harshness of skipping through the replay. So, if we watch me here, just kidding, let's go on me. Here we go. So all I do, you can see right here, this ball pops down, and my teammate gets a weak touch. I could easily come into this ball, but I see right away that Scoo's going to get the touch. So what do? I come close so that he rushes it and work my way out. So now he has a heavy touch. I could challenge again, but I know he's probably panicked about the heavy touch already. So I pull it again. Now he does another one. I could again challenge, but I know he's panicked again. So I'm just going to put myself in front of the ball and the goal. So in between the ball and goal. So he doesn't have a shooting lane. So that, excuse me, I have the hiccups now. So that I'm in his way. So I cover that. And now, again, what does he have? Basically nothing. He can only play on the ground. So I'm just purposefully not going to jump at all this entire time. And watch how easy this looks. I just don't jump. I wait. And now he rushes his jump. And now I have a very easy pop up. Same thing. Right away, I know if I hit this ball, if I just go for the challenge, it's a very easy win for Meester. And you can see the bottom left, Scoo has already recovered. So I aerial out of it to then just get a soft touch. To then instantly, you see I've already engaged my jump to jump again to beat both of them. And now just like that, I've created an easy scoring opportunity by literally touching the ball twice on that entire way down and entire way back. So that is the value of the little turnouts and not actually jumping, because you're forcing someone to rush the touch and you're with the benefit of being able to get back in time. So we'll hop back into your replay now and continue on. This one. But I hope that makes a little sense, because it's truthfully a massively advantageous mechanic. We're only a minute 30 into the game. We're 20 minutes deep. This is a great replay, KingKnight. This is a fantastic replay for us to work through. Let's get you back in here. I'm not a fan of the single jump kickoffs, but I'm not super against it. Same thing with the going back for the boost, but you did have time, so nothing too crazy. And Leon's just a king. Great shot. Great play. Literally no comment. Just fantastic play. Good win from your teammate. Good pulling out for you there because now Leon has the touch. Perfect. You're playing great. You're playing a really strong third man, and then you move into the 2. That's perfect. See, this is already different from what you did before, right? You're not cutting off. You're not doing anything. You've literally changed in the last like minute and a half of this game, and instantly there you go. Heavy touch. You know it's your ball, and you can go for it. I want better on the challenge, but overall, still not a bad play at all. And then that definitely should have been Leon's save. So I wish you had this touch, but Leon should have been able to jump at that and make the play. Not a huge deal. 5-2. It's a high-scoring game. I see it slows down, but still. Holy. Good positioning. And so you gotta be careful of this, right? So you know Leon has now gone for the full boost behind you. Mr. Miles is, and so this is, I'm seeing this a lot with you. You've engaged a jump here, and my question will always be why, right? With what speed are you trying to gain here when you already know there's about to be a 50 for this ball right here? Both these players are going to be going up for this. So for all you know, the Blue Turtles is going to boom this ball off the wall and bring it back, and you've now started a flip to land here, and you have to recover and make a quick save, right? So the flip should always be intentional and knowing when you can and can't flip. And when a 50 is about to happen, literally there is never a good time to flip. So keep that in mind when you're looking at stuff like this. And because of it, you end up actually riding right up to Mr. Miles, very close, and you have to slam on the brakes, and you've wasted boost and the flip all the way down the field, but you move into that number 2 spot. The one thing I will also say, and this just might be your team's rotations, you, to me right now, you're a third man because you are behind Mr. Miles, telling me Leon should be streaking down the middle right now, being ready for the play, and so you're moving into that number 2 spot to get ready. But you choose to flip this way and get into that middle zone. At a high level gameplay, I guarantee you're cutting off someone in here. You clearly don't because Leon isn't there. But just keep that in mind in future. Of that, the second that you pick a side, you got to stick to it. Once you get to a bit higher level gameplay, because you really would be cutting off Leon here the second you flip this way, and now you'd have 2 of you there. But it goes over your head, and Leon's there where he should be to make the play. Interesting, little chaotic, I will say. This is where you got to work out those comms. So this gets centered. Leon puts the ball to basically nowhere. Leon now needs to be the one chasing this. Leon should not be turning out. See how he starts his flip there? He's the one who hit it. He should be chasing. Mr. Miles goes back for a boost, and you're in the number 2 spot. But now you have 2 players going. You're in the back. So you're like, oh, I need to go. But then Mr. Miles then chooses to turn and get a great hit. Don't get me wrong. But see how awkward this has just become because people aren't sticking with it. So again, that's where I'm Mr. Leon. But he's really got to stay with those balls when he's going. Great challenge from you. And a really good look for demos. Unfortunately, you didn't get one. But a good boost grab to boot. Mr. Miles, great win. Leon for the redirect. Oh, close. Oh, unfortunate shot. I want to see a little quicker, obviously. Full speed right now. You should be like all on it as fast as you can be going. You didn't even use your boost, actually. I think from what I just saw. Yeah, you only use your boost to use it like an aerial. I want to see you full boost to that ball the entire way through and booming that in the net. I know you can do it. Good cutoff. This is just a bit of a reading thing. So I do this touch a lot right here where I get a pop off the wall. You want to turn, so you hit it, so just to draw the ball, it's going to pop here and then down. I want you, but in your lane, you do this basically, and then you're chasing it. I want you every single time, because this is a phenomenal touch. It tends to break down D really well. I want you doing this way, because then you can cannon it on net from that angle. But you can see right away when you turn the other way, you end up chasing the ball rather than being in front of it. Just take a look at this. And you turn that way, so now you're chasing it, and all you did in that entire play was give up possession, and that's it. And now you're chasing back for boost. And they realistically should have gotten a goal out of it. Unfortunately, it came off wall. Pretty rough double. Pretty rough double. This just isn't your ball. This is such a good opportunity for you to start breaking out, to start going this way, hoping that Mr. Miles is going to go up and boom that ball down to you. That really should be what you're looking for here, because if you think about the second you go up here, where's this ball going when you hit it? Because we know that Leon has already used all of his boosts, so he's going to be looping back in this way. Miles, even if he didn't jump, is back here. So if you go up and you meet this ball, all you're going to be doing is cannoning it down back for them. Right down to their end, and there's no purpose to that touch, whereas Miles at least could be leading you. And even if his touch is purposeless, let's say he goes up and follows a similar arc, at least if you did what I said and you were on the ground, then you could be the one chasing that down to then make a play instead, right? So you're actually making opportunities for your team when you don't take these kind of awkward aerials. So I think what I'm seeing in general right now is just you need a lot more intentionality in the way you play. You got to put just a little more thought in, because now you and Mr. Miles are completely out of the zone. But a good recovery to the back post. These go back to the lanes. I want you to take the lanes here. See how you don't get a single pad. You take a beeline right for the net when you could have just slightly even taken like half a second longer just to line yourself up with some pads, and you wouldn't just be on 12 in net. And careful on creeping out. This goes the same for flipping, right? So right now, you don't know what's going to happen to this ball. So you should not be committing to a direction, and you're already in a great spot. And the second you start inching out to here, you don't know what this is going to happen. This 50 could, for all we know, pop off the wall and go right towards the net, and you're in no position to make a save right now. And now this ball, you have to now turn hard and try to keep this out with a quick jump. And you react very patiently, very intelligently. I love to see it, but you wouldn't have been so awkward if you had just waited, right? And always count in when people are coming, when a challenge is about to happen, and never committing to anything, mostly a flip, but even a direction, until you know what's going to happen. Beautiful speed. Great recovery off the wall. You're getting so smooth, your recoveries. Oh, unfortunately the boost miss, but a good touch. Not a fantastic breakaway attempt, and Mr. Miles, the opposite now. So Mr. Miles should not have gone for that, because he should have fully seen that you were already very committed to that play. Good demo. And same thing. See that? So this is the panic, right? So you can watch it right here. So Cowabunga does nothing but stay close to you, and he forces you to go into this quick touch that now all he has to do is catch and move out, right? And now, but he actually ends up brushing his touch, but he could have just caught that and worked his way out, purely because he didn't jump on this play, right? He makes you rush your touch. He can catch it and work out the other way. His teammates double commit, and we are somehow going to get a goal out of it with a great pass from you to Mr. Miles. Great play. But you see how the patience can really break down teams, and that's what I want to see you start doing as well, because with what I'm seeing from your recovery times, you will literally be the fastest player in your entire rank if you can start making a little better decision-making with the current recovery times that you're having. Good tip down from Leon. Huge tip up. KingKnight. Almost a goal opportunity. But no, that was an awesome replay. Thank you so much for sending. So a couple closing notes. So intentionality, I already brought that up. So a big part of your play right now needs to be your decision making. So I can already see you're getting a lot faster as a player. On your next couple weeks, start putting a lot more focus onto your mindset and your thinking and your decision making, because you're at a point now where you're in the upper echelon of players, right? Like you're far above the average. So what you now need to start refining exactly what you're doing. So the equal amount that you're putting in mechanics, you got to put equal amount into your mindset and your decision making. So start a really good way to do that is basically try different levels of speed. So play one game where you're playing like an absolute monkey, and so you're forcing yourself to make incredibly fast decisions. But that's the game then you need to go back and watch the entire game and and judge the decisions that you made. And so look at the ones that you basically do exactly what I just did for you. Like, I didn't like that challenge. Here, you could have been a lot faster getting back, and so on. The next game, play a very, very slow game. So pure, no chasing, no big rush, nothing too crazy. Any opportunity you are near the ball, you're never just hitting it. Every single time, you're slow with it. You're always dribbling. You're always taking your time, and you're probably gonna beat you. You most likely will lose that game because you're not playing very fast. But same thing. Go watch it. Go see where you created space for yourself just by being patient. And then in your last game, try to play normal, but try to involve both mindsets and see what you can bring together. And in those 3 games, watch all 3 replays, make your assessments, and that's a great way to start working on your mindset. And that's the same amount of time that you put into learning a flip reset or a ceiling shot or a really nice aerial or a flick or something. This is what you can start doing with your replays as well, outside of just what I'm doing. Allow me to identify things if you choose to stay on with the replay tier. But with yourself, this is where you can start holding yourself accountable and actually working on the things that I can identify for you and talk through. But I'm already seeing ample improvement. The speed particularly, I think we talked a lot about recoveries and speed last time. So to see how much you've improved in this month is wild. You are absolutely cruising through that type of mechanic right now, and I'm super impressed with it. So great job. I'm really, really excited to reconnect soon and see how you're feeling and where you're at. Please remember you have the whole month to ask me any questions or anything on your mind, and then we will go from there. So great job, man. Thanks for the replay. I know we only got through one, but it was a really, really nice in-depth replay analysis. So I'm hoping that can help you out quite a bit, and we can go from there. But thanks so much again. Love you, KingKnight. Thank you for all your support as always, and I will talk to you soon.